It was dark, it was wet, I was ready to go home. I was on patrol as a trooper, and a vehicle was speeding about 15 miles per hour over the speed limit. I decided to turn on the individual and attempt to stop him. He started accelerating as I turned around on him and ended up into a pursuit. Towards the end of the pursuit, the vehicle ended up taking a jump up this intersection where the road met very awkwardly from a cranberry bog road to a main thoroughfare. And the vehicle went airborne about 25 feet, linear distance that he traveled, and he went vertical as well. On his descent, he hit the ground like a lawn dart, just because of the weight distribution of the vehicle. As the vehicle hit the ground, it erupted into flames immediately. In that second, as the vehicle was emptied very quickly by the driver and passenger, I had so much tunnel vision about chasing those individuals that I didn't even see the vehicle on fire. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't there in my mind. My tunnel vision was so narrowed into what I had to do next. So my trooper buddy that showed up, myself, chased down these individuals into a field, take them into custody, and get them back into our patrol car. At that time, the fire department had put in the vehicle fire out, and we had an opportunity to go back and inspect the vehicle. There was a deceased dog in the back seat, and immediately my heart sank. I started to realize that I had so much tunnel vision. My preconceived thought process was that I had to chase these individuals, and that's all that mattered in the world. I mean, nothing else existed for that moment. And that scared me. I was thinking all of a sudden, where else was this filter being applied in my life? Especially as it pertained to being a trooper. You're met with life or death situations every single day potentially, whether you know it or not. And the fact of the matter is that that dog could have been a child. It could have been someone's loved one. And it's horrific in nature, even being an animal, just an innocent animal at that. That being said, I started rethinking how I operated. I had to put things back in perspective, and how would you do that? This is no different than business. In business, people use filters all the time. We use these preconceived notions based off our history, our experience, our education, things our parents told us. So we walk into opportunities, or problem sets, as people would call them, and we immediately put up these roadblocks for ourselves, saying we can't do this, or it's going to take too much time, or I'm not able to do this. These preconceived conditions that we have in our brain, these filters that we use, often limit and hinder the ability to get the job done, and to push that envelope of how can we make this better? How can we become a better institution, a better company, a better individual? If we're using these filters that we've used over, it's like muscle memory. Enough times you do something, it becomes something you do without even really thinking about it. The subconscious makes decisions approximately 1,000 times an hour without even you realizing that you're making a decision. So my question is, in business, if a problem or an opportunity presents itself, how are you viewing that? Are you able to actually stop for a second and let the totality of the circumstances unfold, and maybe ask for help? Maybe look at alternative options than you typically approach it with? Or are you so tunnel vision that you look at that situation with the same lens that you look at everything else through? So often I hear it can't be done, or this is the way we've always done it. And I respect the generation that's come before us, but at the same time, if we're not questioning how we're doing things and why we're doing things, we're not just doing an injustice to ourselves, but to everybody around us. So for me as a cop, when that opportunity presented itself, it was a long drive home, and I really struggled for a while, but I used that opportunity as a learning tool. And what I started to do is look at every situation through the totality of the circumstances. And what I mean by that is there's so many more factors in play than just me for that situation, especially just chasing the individual. What's the end outcome here? What's the best outcome for everything and everybody involved? And safety is obviously paramount for everybody, including myself. I should be thinking about that. So as I stopped and thought about it for a while, I realized I was not looking at the grand scheme of things in a big picture near enough. But when I started doing that, putting it into practice every single time I had to make any kind of major decision, I looked at what's the totality of the circumstances that's in front of me right now. What's the best desired outcome, not just for me, but for everybody. And when I stopped and applied that filter into the situation through that filter, the outcome was typically a lot different. And the reason was because I realized I'm so gung-ho about things sometimes, I don't allow other people to speak into the situation. I don't allow other factors to seep in all the time. So that simple thing alone helped me immensely. Two more things that I've been doing recently is I've been joining intentionally into different collaboration settings without a bias or an agenda, just to sharpen myself. In other areas, I've been reading books, business books, personal growth books, history books, but just in general, sharpening myself daily, trying to get myself outside of my comfort zone and stretch my mind to question what I'm doing. So I just wonder today, as you see this video, what you think about your life, where you've been to where you're going, and what can you do to help break yourself out of the muscle memory mentality or the preconceived notion mentality. What can you do to make yourself a better thinker, a better team player, and ultimately a better business man or woman? So I appreciate taking the time to watch this video. And if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear other tactics people are deploying to help combat this idea of this is the way we've always done it, or these preconceived notions, these filters we use daily, whether it's personal and or business. I'd love to hear what you have to do to help you and your situation out. Thank you.